Okay, so in this video, I'm going to actually turn the apparatus on and turn some knobs and let you see how it behaves. So bear with me a bit if the camera shakes and that sort of bit. So what I'll do here is I will turn this switch down to bulb. Looks like it's already there. So there's off, laser, and bulb. I'll go down to bulb there. And what I'll do is I'll set the brightness to about, I guess about 3/4 or so. It'll be totally up to you set. So as far as I know, the bulb is on inside here with that little green light coming out because it's an incandescent bulb and there's a green filter after the bulb. And I have it on about 3/4 brightness. And then what I'll do is I'll sort of go down over here and let me show you what you would turn on next to get everything going here. So here's where you have to excuse the camera shaking. I'm just going to move down to the other side here so you can see what I would turn on next. All right, here you go. So there is your high voltage, so on. So what I'll do is I will turn on the DC voltmeter here to some DC volts, and I will flip the switch on right here. So on you go. And now I'm going to turn up the voltage on the photomultiplier tube. And I've already determined that 750 volts is the optimal spot to work this at. And so remember, this voltage is the voltage on the photomultiplier divided by 1,000. So I want to put this at 0.75 volts. There's about 7,000, 7,200, something like right there should be fine. And so there we go. So now the photomultiplier tube is on and operating. So that's about all you would do on this side of it. So let me move the camera back over here. So you can take a look at the single photons coming in. So you can see now suddenly it's counting photons in the course of a second. Let me see, alligator 1. Yeah, alligator 1. Yeah, it's a second. So it's counting photons coming in. And one thing that you would quickly realize, I suppose, is that, well, you know, where are these photons coming from at the moment? And because we know we have the bulb on, I just turned that on. But if I move up a little bit like that, the aperture is still closed down here. So this lever right here is an aperture to the photon counter, and I have that closed, as I said, at the moment. And so what these counts would be would basically be your dark or background counts. So you'll probably have to write some of these numbers down or have them when you do your analysis, but it looks like when the aperture is closed, so literally no light is getting to the single photon detector, we're getting about, somewhere in the neighborhood of 160, 165 counts. So you might want to grab a few of those and average those out and maybe have a offset you'll always subtract from any of your real numbers, right? Because these are the dark counts. And with the lid on the box, there's no external room light getting in there. So that would be sort of just the dark counts, thermal noise, if you will, in the photon detector itself. So I'll just let that run for a moment. All right, so now what I'll do is I'll just go to this other end of the apparatus over here, and I'm going to lift that knob and I'm going to pull that lever up, opening the aperture to the single photon detector so all the photons can actually start getting in. So here I go. Just going to pull it up. And we should see some change over on the photon counting unit, and indeed we do. So these then would be the number of photons that are hitting the single photon detector as generated by that light bulb all the way on the other end of the apparatus. Okay, so what I'll do now, just to test this a bit here, just to sort of twiddle around with some of the controls, is if I go back over here, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to turn the dimmer knob on the bulb a little bit just to verify that it's sort of working the way we'd think. So I'll let you look at the single photon counts over there. And so what I'm going to do now is so the dimmer knob is about at 3/4. I'm going to turn it all the way up. So here we go, all the way up, 3, 2, 1, all the way up. See the counts that we're in the 2000s now. Okay, I go back to about 3/4 level right there. Put it at about half right there. There's about 1/4 right there. And I can go back to 0 like that. Just playing off the numbers, so see we're sort of in the dark count zone. I think when it's on 0, the bulb was on, but there's not enough current to actually generate any photons, so we're sort of back, and that looks like a lot like the dark counts, and I can even turn it off. Did you hear that click? So now the lamp is even off. Oh, but I think that actually turns the entire operation off, so I think the photon detector is off too, so never mind. I'll put it back on bulb. And so these would be, the photon detector is on now, but the bulb was turned all the way down. So these would be sort of numbers that are equivalent just to the dark counts. So we turn the knob back up to about half brightness. We're getting a good healthy number of photon counts in the box. Okay.